Sri Lanka, a land where dense jungles meet shimmering paddy fields, and where wild elephants have roamed freely for centuries. These majestic creatures, known for their intelligence, emotional depth, and long memories, are an integral part of Sri Lanka's identity. But today, they're at the heart of a growing crisis. A conflict is unfolding silently, between humans and elephants, where both sides are victims of change. This is not just a wildlife issue. It's a story of survival, loss, and the urgent need for balance. Historically, Sri Lankans and elephants shared a bond rooted in reverence and respect. Elephants played sacred roles in religious parades, carried royalty, and were symbols of strength and prestige. Ancient stone carvings and folklore celebrate their presence. There was a time when elephants freely roamed from the northern dry zone to the southern rainforests. Their relationship with humans was not one of fear, but of mutual existence. But as centuries passed, that harmony began to fade. The core of this conflict lies in land. With rapid population growth, development, and agriculture, elephant habitats have been destroyed and fragmented. Forest corridors have been replaced by roads, villages, and plantations. What once was continuous elephant territory has now become isolated patches. Elephants, who walk dozens of kilometers daily, are forced to pass through farmlands and towns, leading to frequent encounters with humans, often ending in tragedy. For rural farmers, especially in the dry zones like Anuradhapura, Ampara, and Manaragala, wild elephants are a constant threat. Nighttime is the most dangerous. Families stay awake, guarding their fields and homes. A single elephant can destroy an entire season's harvest in minutes. For people living on the edge of poverty, this loss is devastating. It's not uncommon for villagers to build watchtowers or use firecrackers, drums, and even gunfire to scare off elephants. But these measures are risky and don't always work. In 2023, in a small village in Habarana, a man named Disanaya K went out at night after hearing noises near his banana plantation. Armed only with a flashlight, he confronted a wild elephant. Moments later, he was trampled to death. His wife and 2 children now live in fear, his farm abandoned. Across Sri Lanka, over 100 people die each year from elephant encounters. Many more are injured or traumatized. These deaths leave behind broken families and a rising resentment toward wildlife. But from the elephant's perspective, the story is just as tragic. Elephants don't invade villages to cause destruction, they are simply following ancient migratory paths that now pass through human land. Their water sources are drying up. Their food is gone. They are hungry, confused, and increasingly stressed. Calves are born into shrinking forests. Old matriarchs, who once led herds safely through the jungle, now lead them into danger zones. And when elephants attack crops or homes, it's often out of desperation, not aggression. To protect themselves, some villagers use lethal methods, electric fences, homemade rifles, and poisoned fruit. In return, elephants sometimes retaliate, damaging homes, vehicles, and entire settlements. The tension escalates year after year. Over 300 elephants die annually in Sri Lanka, many from gunshots, poisoning, or falling into man-made wells. Some die slowly from infected wounds. The emotional suffering of elephants, especially mothers losing calves, is rarely spoken about. Yet, it's very real. In a village near Gaugamoa, a baby elephant once fell into a deep agricultural well. It was stuck for hours, crying out. Initially, villagers were fearful. But something changed. They called wildlife officers, brought ropes, and even used a bulldozer to rescue the calf. Children watched with hope as the little one was pulled out. He was later named Kirya and sent to an elephant orphanage. This story spread across the nation, showing that compassion still exists. But such stories are rare exceptions in a sea of hostility. The Sri Lankan government has tried multiple strategies to reduce the conflict. Elephant relocation was once a popular method, capturing aggressive or displaced elephants and releasing them into national parks like Yala or Udalalawe. But this often fails. Elephants return to their original territories, or clash with existing herds. Electric fencing has been deployed around villages and reserves, but poor maintenance renders many of them useless within months. Legal protection for elephants exists, but enforcement is weak. In some areas, local communities have taken matters into their own hands. They formed volunteer patrols, started reforestation projects, and introduced new crop types that elephants dislike, such as chili and citrus. Some villagers have even built elephant-friendly fences using natural barriers like beehives, which elephants instinctively avoid. Community-based solutions are gaining traction, not through official channels, but through the courage and innovation of those living on the front lines. Non-governmental organizations and researchers have stepped in to fill the gap. Projects like Trunks and Leaves and the Center for Conservation and Research have introduced satellite tracking collars to monitor elephant movements. This data helps predict conflict zones and develop safer migration corridors. Some groups also run school awareness programs, teaching children to coexist with elephants. These efforts are sowing the seeds of long-term change, through education and science. Technology is also playing a key role. Motion sensor alarms, solar-powered fences, and mobile apps for real-time elephant tracking are being tested. In some districts, early warning systems send alerts to villagers when elephants are nearby. These methods, though costly, have proven effective in reducing surprise encounters. The challenge now is scaling these solutions across the island and ensuring they are accessible to even the poorest communities. It's easy to talk numbers, but behind every elephant death and every human fatality is a story of suffering. A farmer watching his livelihood vanish overnight. A young elephant crying beside its dead mother. A mother in mourning. A herd separated. These emotional wounds cut deep, and they are felt by both species. Understanding this emotional cost is crucial if Sri Lanka is to move from conflict to coexistence. In cities, elephants are still paraded during festivals, adorned with lights and jewelry, treated as sacred beings. Yet in rural areas, the same animals are feared and sometimes hated. This cultural contradiction reveals the complexity of the issue. How can one animal be worshipped and killed in the same nation? Addressing this double standard is key to any future solution. Conservation is not just about saving elephants, it's about reconciling identity, tradition, and survival. Elephants are also vital to Sri Lanka's economy, particularly through tourism. Tourists travel from around the world to see them in national parks. A live elephant brings more revenue to the country than one lost to conflict. Encouraging ecotourism in local communities can shift perspectives. If villagers benefit financially from living near elephants, they're more likely to protect them. Turning elephants from threats into assets is a long-term, but necessary, transformation. In a village near Waskamua, farmers now use watchtowers, drones, and mobile networks to safely track elephant movements. When a herd approaches, they avoid confrontation and wait for them to pass. The result? 0 human deaths in 3 years. Their story is living proof that with planning, patience, and empathy, peace is possible. These models must be studied, supported, and replicated across the country. Ultimately, the long-term solution lies with the next generation. Teaching schoolchildren the importance of elephants, how to act during an encounter, and why coexistence matters can reshape national attitudes. Education is more powerful than any fence. It builds empathy, awareness, and responsibility, values that can sustain Sri Lanka's elephants and its people for generations to come. If the current trend continues, Sri Lanka risks losing a significant portion of its elephant population within a few decades. But the future is not yet written. With the right policies, community involvement, and technological innovation, a better path is possible. One where elephants and humans can share the land, not fight over it. It will require effort, compromise, and vision, but the reward is a legacy of harmony, not destruction. Whether you're a policymaker, a farmer, a student, or a tourist, your role matters. Speak up for better protection. Support conservation efforts. Respect elephant habitats. Demand accountability for projects that fail. Every voice counts. Because this conflict is not just about animals or agriculture. It's about what kind of country Sri Lanka wants to be. One of fear and fences, or one of understanding and coexistence. The elephant is more than just an animal in Sri Lanka. It is a guardian of forests, a keeper of tradition, and a mirror to our values. Its survival is tied to ours. When we protect elephants, we protect ecosystems, heritage, and ourselves. So let us not see them as enemies, but as partners in a shared journey. A journey where both giants, human and elephant, walk together into the future.